Hey everybody, Donut DM here, with another dungeon. Today we've got the Dzemael Darkhold, and this dungeon, let me tell ya, this dungeon. Alright, so, first things first, tank stance on. Nobody's new here, so everybody knows this. Alright, so the thing about this dungeon is for the first part of it, you're going to grab every single enemy, okay? Grab every one of them. Maybe pop a defensive cooldown here. But here's how we're going to do this. We want you guys. Hi, guys. We want you guys. Hey, how's it going? Grab you too, and we'll go ahead and stop here. The thing about this purple area, the crystal veil, you can see I'm taking 30s of damage. Like, no damage. That's the thing, the gimmick with this dungeon is purple zones mean you don't take damage. I could have actually gone further, but I'm kind of conscientious of people that play on console. Sometimes when you grab a whole bunch of enemies, it doesn't perform as well. So that is actually the first boss. He patrols this area. You're just gonna let him do his thing. He hurts you if you're not in the purple, but that's the kicker. You're always gonna be in the purple zone here. So run through, grab this whole room here. Just grab them all. Grab everybody. We're all going to the corner. Doesn't even matter that I'm standing in AoE because I'm in the purple zone. Alright, I'm just gonna keep throwing my lightning shot over this betrayed soul. Alright, so there was one of these little circle things out there, and there's one in here. You stand in them to activate them. And once they're activated, you move on through the door. You can see the boss starts moving through because this is where you fight the boss. So it's the same thing. Look for the purple zone. You're going to pull the boss into it. As you can see when he flew through it, it made him vulnerable. He will not be taking damage outside of this purple. So you have to make sure he's firmly planted. When you see the big eye marker, that means do not look at the boss. So again, we're going to not look at him. Here in a moment, he's going to spawn a couple of extra enemies. We're going to make sure that we grab them. And it's perfect timing because he's trying to get us to look at him at the same time. Now we're going to go ahead and start looking. This is really hard as a fucking ball, though, let me tell you. This purple area is about to fade away. So we're going to want to look. There's going to be another set of these rocks that will generate a purple area. Alright, we can see it over there. So we're going to grab these guys while we run through. And we're going to go ahead and pull them over to this next area. The downside to Lalafell tanking, folks, your camera angle is god awful. Am I going to change off of Lalafell? No. Probably, actually. My glamours are all very nonsensical, and it makes the story kind of a joke. And that's what I play Final Fantasy for, is the story that I haven't progressed in months. Don't ask me how that works. It's called crafting, folks. Alright, boss is dead. You see this Magitech transporter here. You're going to use it to teleport into the next zone of the dungeon. Alright, so these frogs are going to be the big problem here. I'm just going to agree. So those frogs will pull you closer to them when they're first aggroed. You can see there's some down there. So what I like to do is I like to grab this first group here. I'm going to activate a healing cooldown here. Grab this group. I'm going to kind of hold them back in this corner. You're hitting the point where if you're not pulling one or two groups of enemies at a time, you're really not utilizing the fact that almost all classes have an AoE damage rotation. So we're gonna keep grabbing these fools. Alright, so I'm gonna try to pull these enemies over towards the ranged. That way they can get included in this AoE damage fiesta. And you can see these big glowing rocks have AoEs around them. We're just gonna not stand in the AoE. Again, recurring theme of Final Fantasy XIV. Don't stand in AoE. I feel the need to emphasize that because... Alright, so that's a dead end that way. We want to go down away. We want to go down this slope here. Sorry, I usually travel by minimap only, so this dungeon really throws me off right there. Alright, so we're going to grab this group of enemies, and we're going to run past these explodey rocks. Grab this group of enemies. I'm going to use my self-heal ability. I'm going to try to position the enemies right here around this Forsaken Soul. I just stood in AoE. You can preach to the masses all you want, but as soon as you stand in one AoE... Oh, it's because there's a rock right there. I'm just taking pointless damage. Don't be like me, guys. I'm preaching to the masses about not standing in AoEs, and I'm just sitting here face tanking them. Because my tiny Lalafell freaking camera angle. Anyway, so now we are at another boss here. He's gonna spawn in from up there. The turd. Pretty basic. Face him away from the party. What's not as basic though is he's going to summon these guys up here, and they're going to start throwing boulders around the arena. Essentially, you just don't stand in the AoE, and that's that whole mechanic. So if the healer just puts a Medica 2 on everybody, never mind, I don't think they have Medica 2 at level 46. But if the healer just puts regen on everybody, all the mechanics of this fight are negated. He does have a knockback elbow drop there. Or not a knockback, a behind his back. Again, you go through the teleporter. We're gonna just greed and greed. Alright, so you see the little blue wall back there that is being blocked off by this transporter, or not transporter, Magitech device here. My phone is blown up about work. But you know what's harder work? Tanking a dungeon, so they can wait. Alright, so we're gonna stand in this. You're gonna take damage, but there's no fighting happening. So you're just gonna take it, stand, and wait. Okay. So there's another one up here. So we're gonna grab these Forsaken Souls. And just take them down one by one. Now skeletons in the back finally rotated up. So, when you got most of the enemies killed, feel free to go ahead and stand in the Magitech little circle. Countdown's complete, and you can see that door fades away. Again, we're gonna pull the fight away from these crystals. Just bring it all down here. Notice how I'm using 2 defensive cooldowns here to help the healer. At this level, the healer has a spell called Holy. It is an AoE, that big flash of white there. It does damage to each enemy, decreasing after the first one hit, but most importantly, it stuns every single enemy for about half a second. So if you can let them pop that a couple of times, you're gonna be able to kill all the enemies without really taking damage. So we're on to the final boss here. He has mechanics that I will just explain when we... What? We are down a beat. He's running up. So go ahead and pull the boss, towards an edge here. And he has an AoE cleave around himself. Alright, so when there's a corrupted crystal, he is invulnerable until the crystal is killed. he will start targeting players to shoot a laser at them. I believe it's typically the tank. So let your DPS take care of the crystals while you just avoid the AoE. And as soon as you see that tether gets destroyed, go back to hacking and a whacking. Popped a heal and a defensive cooldown. So now I've got a regen from the healer that they should have on me, and my own regen effect that frees up the healer to do more damage, which means a faster clear time for the dungeon. You can see again, there's a corrupted crystal. Figure out if you're the one being targeted. Since you're not, feel free to help with the DPS. Break that crystal and get back on that boss. Now you can tell around this point if you watch how often you see like Cure and Q2 being activated. Healers are open to do a lot more damage at this point. Alright, so it's not me, it's the DPS. Hopefully he's gonna play nice and not bring it into this crystal area. Alright. So you can see he just gave himself a damage up buff. And some circles of goop, void goop spawn. Just don't stand in it. Stand where, like, I have a ninja. He has access to both sides and the back for his positionals. And should be getting a limit break here. There it is. And that's it. That's Dzemael Darkhold. The healer did a good job, did White Mage correctly. Holy Spam is the meta after all, so good job to him. Just, I don't really care about that stuff, so we're just gonna go ahead and head out. And that's it, guys. That's the Dzemael Darkhold. Starting to hit the really interesting dungeons. I don't know what you're gonna say. Donut DM, this is your third video in 2 days. Like you're like posting. Yeah. I gotta do 50 videos in like 3 days and then not post again for months. So let's keep it up. While this is uploading, I'm gonna start tanking the next dungeon to upload it. So yeah, let's go. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.